Welcome to my channel. Darren's Villaging and More presents Department 56 item number 809400, Lit Cauldrons, reimagined for 2025. If you like this video, like and subscribe for more. Here we have a set of the Department 56 Lit Cauldrons that I'm currently using in my 2025 Halloween village. Thanks to the Department 56 marketing materials, we know that the cauldrons were introduced in 2010 and retired in 2011 for a very short run. They are a set of 4, each with a static chartreuse LED. Each of the cauldrons has some long fiber polyfill, almost like a faux fur for the glowing top. The dimensions are not posted by Department 56, however after taking a couple of quick measurements, each cauldron is approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter and about half an inch high to the rim of the cauldron. Depending on polyfill, these could be up to an inch or higher. These are a fun accent piece to any Halloween village and would work exceptionally well in any witch theming. I recently purchased another set of these on eBay for $10 US, as I feel they could be much more than what they currently are. Come join me as I reimagine the Lit Cauldrons for 2025 by first removing the old LEDs and electronics. In order to remove the old LEDs and electronics, we are going to first start by removing any glue on the bottom of each cauldron to free up the wires using a hook pick tool. You may or may not need heat to remove the glue on the wires. In some instances, the glue comes right off, and in others, heat is needed. When removing the glue from the wires, take your time and try not to damage the wire. This wire will be recycled for the new LEDs. Once the glue at the bottom of each cauldron is removed, the next step is to heat up the cauldron with a hairdryer on high heat. The way that these were put together used a large amount of hot glue in the cauldron surrounding the LED, and then a faux fur or polyfill was then added directly on top and secured with a simple twist. I'm using my pillar candle holder today and a hook pick tool to hold the cauldron in place while heating. Once warm to the touch, I'll lightly pull on the polyfill to see if the glue ball comes loose. If it doesn't, then I'll use a pick tool and just dig into the glue inside the cauldron and twist it out. These cauldrons are made of a hard resin material, so there's little chance of breaking it. Once the glue ball is out, I'm going to attempt to save the polyfill and reuse, and then snip off the old LED. I'll repeat this process on all of the remaining cauldrons before moving on to testing the new LED. The LED that I've chosen for this project is a 3mm slow color changing LED by Chanson with a voltage of 3 to 3.2 volts with a 20mA draw. I'll post a link to them in the video description. I'm a big fan of this brand and I've used them in various other applications, including my static fiber optic trees. These LEDs will slow fade into 6 different colors. The fun thing about them is they will not stay in sync with one another at all times, so the color changing effect will be quite dynamic in almost any application. Let's take a quick look at the math for the circuit and move on to circuit layout and assembly. As I wire in parallel, meaning each LED gets a resistor, let's calculate for resistance. A 3V power source and a 3V LED equals 0 volts. I would need a 1 ohm resistor for circuit protection and full brightness. Instead, I'll use a 10 ohm plus or minus 5% quarter watt resistor to lightly dim the LED. A quick note, prior to this point, I have removed the original resistor from the circuit. This was found where all of the cauldrons come together on the pigtail power adapter and is covered by heat shrink. I'm going to start by stripping the wires using a flame as they are quite delicate, and this is an easy way to remove the sheathing. With the sheathing stripped back, I have plugged in the wiring for the circuit and will test the LED for continuity. The entire time that I'm removing wire sheathing and soldering, the circuit will be live. As this is a low voltage amperage circuit, there is no danger of electrocution. It's not the volts that hurt you, it's the amps, and this circuit uses milliamps, so there is no danger. With continuity in place, I'll begin attaching the LEDs. Normally, I would put heat shrink on each of the leads before stripping back the sheathing and attaching the LED. However, in this instance, I won't be doing that as I plan to use the cathode, aka the negative side, as a stabilizer point within the cauldron. I will apply the heat shrink to the positive lead, and then after soldering, ensure there are no stray wires or frays that could cause a short in the circuit. Let's move on to our finishing touches for the cauldrons. Alright, and here we go on to our final touches for the cauldrons, Reimagined for 2025. So, with the LEDs in place, again, they're just secured by friction because of how the anode, cathode, and the resistor all fit. It is kind of a circular design, and the cathode is literally just holding everything in place, and it's quite firm. So, the things we need to do is put our PolyFil back in, and one little touch that we're going to be doing also is painting the handles on the cauldron. So I have some PolyFil here, and now I've already taken the liberty of kind of running a little bit of paint through the PolyFil just by taking some PolyFil, a drop of tan paint, and squishing it together and rolling it together in my hands real fast. At which point I then pulled it apart, allowed it to dry, and now I'm taking it and fluffing it and using it for these cauldrons. Now, as I am making little balls of PolyFil, I will use a pick tool to push it down, and then eventually come back with a pair of scissors and kind of just trim up any excess PolyFil hairs. Here is an excellent opportunity where you can really have some fun with the PolyFil and shape it to something interesting. For example, I did several of the Sanderson sisters hairstyles at one point. I ultimately didn't stick with it, but it was kind of fun to do. The Winnie was honestly the hardest with trying to do a tiny braid with PolyFil. So instead, I opted to just do a little bit more of a classic, steam up and over to the side, or just straight up kind of configuration. It's almost very similar to the original configuration. And the last step of this is something that I have done to every set of the cauldrons that I have ever purchased, and that is using some silver enamel paint to paint the handles on the cauldrons. You may or may not have realized that there were handles on each of these cauldrons, but because they are painted black, they are washed out, they blend in, you don't see them. So let's bring that character and that detail to life with just a smidge of paint. It doesn't take very much. I'm going to be using just a dab on my brush and wiping off excess. And I'll go through, just pick up the cauldron, and just lightly go around the edge. I'm not trying to make this perfect by any stretch of the imagination. The only thing that I'm trying to do is not have it bleed everywhere. So I'll flip it over, and I'll do the other side. And in that one instant, you can see these cauldrons just kind of come to life. I have also seen people do the feet as well in a different color, or go through and repaint the bodies with a little bit of metallic paint, such as a copper brushing or a iridescent, just so you can have them pop out instead of just being a black cauldron. After all, it is a witch's cauldron, so it might as well be as dynamic as possible and have some fun with it. Once all of the handles of the cauldrons are painted, I'll allow them to dry for a few moments. It generally takes about 5 minutes, enough time to clean my brush. Then, let's move on to the final reveal. And here we have it, our reimagined Lit Cauldrons for 2025. So tell me, what did you think of this project? What do you think of my LED choice and PolyFil choice? What would you have done differently? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. My overall plan is to use these in my secondary Halloween village as part of a witchy walkway. So I'm very excited to get that going. And as always, thank you for watching. This has been Darren's Villaging and More presents Department 56 item number 809400, Lit Cauldrons Reimagined for 2025. If you like this video, like and subscribe for more.